How many people are following my train of thought this morning? Yes? So then, you look at a child, right? One of the things about most children that have been raised in a relatively healthy environment is that they're pretty much happy. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of in this kind of state of presence and the state of joy, and they're smiling and they're curious and they want to learn things. Their brain is so neuroplastic. They want to do things and they want to learn things and they want to play and they want to use their imagination. And you compare that to an adult, you know? You compare that to an adult and you see the antithesis of that. And when a child is in that state, they're not being unhappy, they're just being happy. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Yes. You get to be an adult and you hardwire your brain to certain thoughts that keep you unhappy, certain behaviors and habits that reaffirm your present state, your present personality, and those emotions that you've memorized that are connected to the past experiences in your life. And so, by pure reason then, wouldn't you agree then if someone asked you how to be happy, you would say, first thing is you have to stop being unhappy? Yes? You got to stop thinking the thoughts that create the feelings or the behaviors or the choices that you make that keep you being in that state, or the state of being called a personality called unhappiness. Would you agree?
Yes.
And so then we think, because we've been conditioned that way, that when the wealth shows up, or the lover shows up, or the new car shows up, or the whatever it is that people want shows, the new life shows up, then we'll be happy. We think that. I have caught myself thinking that. I've caught myself thinking that. And by the way, what a great way to sell a product to a person. You think companies want you to be happy? You think corporations want you to feel whole? What are they going to sell you? You think beauty looks a certain way? We've all bought that one. So then you would agree with me then that in order to be happy, you have to stop being unhappy. Yes? And so then, in true honesty, you would say, well, let me look at the thoughts. Let me write them down that happen to me, that are connected to a person or a thing or experience that keep me in this state of unhappiness. And if you became so familiar with that thought, it became so clear to you. You made conscious what was once unconscious and hardwired or habituated. And you made the decision and experience that this thought is going to be pruned from the circuitry in my brain. We are done with this today. And those behaviors that you keep making the same choices around, that keep producing the same experiences, and you get down to those behaviors and you look at why you do those behaviors or what you're doing in those behaviors, and you objectively look at them with compassion, be just like you playing a tape, watching yourself hit a golf ball, watching you dance ballet, watching you be a parent. The moment you look at yourself in a videotape of you, wouldn't you go, oh my God, is that what I look like? What would be the next thought after you saw that? I can do better than that. I can do better than that. And what do you think that happens at the end of our lives when our life plays in front of us and we look at ourselves and we go, I could do better. I knew I was doing that, but I couldn't stop it. And then you know what you're going to say? I got to go back. I got to get this down. I got to go. Why wait? So the process of self-reflection or self-observation or contemplation is a dying art. Most people would rather turn on the TV or, pick a fight with somebody or get on their cell phone and complain or, surf the internet or whatever we do. And then when? Tell me, when? When are you going to fit in that ability to become conscious of your unconscious self? You can wait for crisis. You can wait for trauma. You can wait for disease or diagnosis or loss. You get to that point where you reach such a low denominator that you're so stunned that you can't be yourself any longer. How many people have had that happen? I have. You reach that moment where all of a sudden you're more real than you've ever been. And you're no longer spinning plates trying to keep this gap intact. You finally realize, what am I doing all of this for? For what? For who? I'm just brainwashed into thinking that this is so important when this is really important. And you finally look at that. I'm saying, why wait? Why wait? Wake up in the morning and be inspired that you have a day, a lifetime to create. That day is your lifetime. And what's the wisdom you're going to gain from that day? If it's just one piece of wisdom, and you create something, little synchronicity here or there, and that end product of that self-creation is called empowerment. You feel like you're the center or at cause of your life. And you only need a few of those, just a few, to climb out and believe in yourself. And what is a belief? Isn't it just a thought that you keep thinking over and over and over and over until it's hardwired in your brain? And isn't it a belief something that you revisit, a memory, and a memory has the emotion, and you keep revisiting that memory and it produces the emotion, and your beliefs then are conditioning the body equal to that emotion? The very boundaries of that belief is called feelings. If something goes against our beliefs, that doesn't feel right. So if thinking and feeling create a state of being, then our beliefs are literally a state of being. And a state of being is that you're too busy being it to notice that you're it. You listening? You didn't get that. You're too busy being your belief because you're thinking and feeling equal to that belief to notice you're being it, because when you're being it, you're not noticing it, you're being it. When you begin to observe yourself being it, you're no longer being it, but you're now the consciousness observing you being it. And I'm not trying to be didactic here, as Woody Allen would say. I'm just trying to make it clear that when we're being it, we can't see ourselves. So when do you see yourself except when you reach such a lower denominator of crisis where you just go, it's all me. I can't even blame anybody, because if the planet, nobody was left on the planet and I was left with me, I'd still be feeling and thinking this way. I guess I better get down the change. Am I making sense? But then, why is it, as we said yesterday, that someone could move into a state of religious ecstasy and drink poison, strychnine, arsenic, and have no biological effects? They moved into a different state of being. They changed their energy. Would you agree? A person who decides to walk across hot coals, they make up their mind that their consciousness is on the other side, and they walk across those coals. They're not saying, geez, I wonder if the coals are hot, and they look down to see if they're hot. That's not belief. Belief is like pregnancy. Either you are or you're not. You either have it or you don't. And so when you have a very strong energetic shift inside of you, and that decision is made with firm intention, and you feel energy when you make that decision, the moment you make that decision with firm intention, that decision is an experience, and that experience produces an energetic and emotional change in you. And if the decision is made with energy that's greater than the addiction of that belief, you begin to change. How many people understand? Yes. So then we could say then that when you change your energy around the belief, and you begin to broadcast a signal that's coherent and clear, and it's made with a decision, it rewrites the neurocircuitry in your brain. It produces a different chemistry, which is the downward causation of your shift in consciousness. it begins to change your biology and signal new genes in new ways. And in a matter of moments, you begin to feel differently. And you can't change a belief with an energy equal to or lesser than that belief. How many people understand? Because the person who's moving into a state of absolute certainty, or being moved by the Holy Spirit in the deep south for some reason, and they expose themselves to poisonous snakes, or drink strychnine, or walk across coals, or chew glass, and have no effects. They transcend their bodies. They transcend their environmental conditions. They transcend time in that moment. They are not living of this world in that moment. And the body begins to reorganize itself in a matter of moments because they shifted their energy. How many people understand? Turn to the person next to you and explain.